This brings us all the way back to some royals. And I'm just going to stop the video for a minute. All right. So this last question is from Stephanie, and it has about 47 parts. So we're going to have some fun with this. So first part of it, it's all regarding this Nigerian heritage, this alleged 43% Nigerian heritage that Meghan has revealed. Meghan Markle, for those of you that have been living under a rock for the last few years. First question, does Harry or Doria believe the 47%? Let's start with Harry. Let's see what Harry believes. Oh, Harry does not believe it. He kind of rolls his eyes at this, but being the more submissive of the two, he is not able to say anything about it. It's information that he thinks should be accelerated and sent out there because it does work for their brand. So there's Harry. What about Doria? Does Doria believe this 43% Nigerian bit? She thinks this is nothing but trouble. And she actually, I think, wants to do her own genetics, if she has not already, just uncover something. Now, oddly enough, I don't know why I get like a West Indian thing with Doria. And I'm not a geneticist or anything like that, but I've always gotten like a West Indian kind of vibe from her. I'm not sure why. So let's go back to Harry. What does Harry think she should do with this Nigerian heritage information? What does Harry think she should do with it? Now he thinks she should stop talking about it because too many questions are being asked and something is going to give. So someone's going to pull that genetic information, or they're gonna demand that they see it. So Harry thinks they need to back off it. Sorry if that was contrary from the last one. I kind of thought that was what he wanted. What does Doria think she should do about it? About this Nigerian information? I think Doria wants her to mea culpa on this. I think Doria wants her to say there was an error. I made a mistake. They made a mistake. We're going to retest. I think Doria wants her to do that, just to kind of correct the information that's out there. So next question, again from Stephanie. Thank you so much, Stephanie. How will Meghan react if this 43% Nigerian business is proven false? Oh, for Pete's sake. That was something I was known in my corporate office for. People would hear me say all the time, oh, for Pete's sake. There's one guy in particular who would be like, what would Pete do now on our internal system? I'd be like, ah. But it was not in regard to clients, but it was mostly in regard to tech. So she is going to say that she identifies with that because she does not really know where she comes from. And when one does not know where they come from, they are reborn again and they can pick any African nation of their choosing. This is really what she's going to say. She's going to say that the nation of Africa is her homeland and that she just feels in her heart Nigerian. That's what she's going to say. But she's going to be greatly disappointed because they don't want her to return to the homeland. Up here, she's going to have to find a whole new homeland. She's going to have to find a country that is going to accept her. Under the surface, she's very hopeful that one country will have her in there. They would love to have home of Meghan Markle on their border. Oh my goodness. Is she going to say that the 43% was actually 4.3% and it was a printer mistake or a mistake on the part of the lab. We know she's not going to say she read it wrong. Will she say it was a printer mistake? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what she's going to say. So good question. Good question. Will she? All right. So, Stephanie, your question was, will the country accept this? So I'm breaking it down into America, the United Kingdom, and Nigeria. So let's see if America is going to buy what she's selling about the Nigerian thing. Let's see. Is America going to buy it? No. No. No, they're going to see it for what it's worth. They're going to see it for a potential money grab, a potential, monetization situation. I will have another video, a separate video about the resources in Ghana, because apparently Ghana is the next country that they have their eyes set on. There's another viewer question in there about that. And there was just no way I could fit it into this. We're already at 54 minutes on this video. So will the United Kingdom buy this explanation? No. But as all amazing Britons do, they're going to be like, well, we don't like her anyway, so it's wonderful that you're finding a home in Africa, wherever that may be. We don't give a toss. It's basically what they're going to say. They just don't care. They just don't care. So what about Nigeria? What about the Nigerians that were dancing in the street like the South Africans? What about the Nigerians? Will they accept this? Oh, no, they're going to be pretty mad too. They're going to be pretty angry about that. And I don't think she's going to be able to go back there. I think there's going to be some unhappy people there with her. So we'll do this quick. How will not being Nigerian affect her politics, her bid for politics here? This finding out that she's not Nigerian. So while politicians are the world's best liars, this is proof that she is not a good liar at all. Like there's just no room for her at this point. In American politics or anywhere else. Like she just doesn't belong there. If she's like a political advocate, like no one's going to want her to do that. Like right now, there's a whole brouhaha with her and a designer. He just doesn't want to dress her. The guy's pretty amazing. Has a pretty amazing career, but there's people are bubbling up stuff about a bankruptcy that he had, but he doesn't want to work with Meghan because it's going to affect his brand. He just does not want that. He would rather be seen as, a guy who doesn't like Meghan Markle than as a guy who's going to give Meghan Markle a chance and his brand is going to blow up. He's just not interested. So politics are the same way right now. They're just going to say no, no thanks, no thanks. How is not being Nigerian going to affect her ARO brand? This is a tough one. I think she's still going to lean into the branding. I think she's still going to try and do that. I don't think she's going to have a lot of support and a lot of people that will help her work. Now, I don't believe that she made that jam in her kitchen. Well, actually, that's not true. I don't think she's making jam commercially out of her kitchen. I think she made jam for her friends. I don't think she made 50 jars. I think it said there were 50 jars and there weren't, because no one is posting up about these 50 jars. Like, we got like 5 jars. So, it's about a pound of berries that goes into one container of jam or preserves or compote or whatever you're making. I think hers was more of a compote at the end of the day, what we were seeing. Um, but it looks like the opportunity to do that outside of the house, getting into a bigger venue, getting into a commercial kitchen, is just not there. So, and I've been saying this, I think that was the soft play to have the cooking show. So, oh, you can make my jam at home. You can't buy my jam because I only make it for my friends, but you can make my jam at home if you follow the instructions that I will show you in this video. So, I do think that the not being Nigerian is just one more thing. It's just one more inauthentic thing. Like, for someone who's spouting authenticity so often, like, she's so inauthentic and false. It's just really tremendous. So, I think that the ARO brand is having a lot of trouble getting off the ground, because I don't think that it really was a commercial endeavor as much as it was a commercial for another endeavor, meaning the Netflix show. I think she really wants to have a cooking show, and nobody really wants to watch her because we know she can't cook. So how is not being Nigerian? This is so hard to say. How will not being Nigerian affect her podcast? So I think we're still with Lemonada. I think we're still, hanging out there in the archives of Lemonada. So, and it's my understanding how Lemonada works is they put the podcast up on their platform, and then you get paid for every play. So it's kind of like YouTube. Like, for every 1,000 views, I get a handful of coins dropped into my Google AdSense account. It's not terrifically lucrative, but I think, with the Lemonada thing, like, it's a bit more lucrative, obviously. YouTube is a platform for like everyday folks like me. Like, I know I'm uncommon, but I'm still an everyday folk. But Lemonada, I think, you really have to have that and she does. She has a world platform, world notability, world notoriety. And so people that really want to see her will flock to Lemonada and go check it out. But I do think that there's an investment in Lemonada as well. I don't think it's just she's got her podcast on there and she's just waiting for, people to click on it and watch it or listen. I think she did invest in the company a little bit, and then thereby got her program on there. I think that was one way to do it. Are they going to keep her on there? I think so. It doesn't cost them any money to house her on there. Are we going to get anything new? Are we going to go into production for some new stuff? She's trying to drum up some new stuff, but she needs help. And she can't quite get any help. She can't. Sorry, guys, crooked. Trying not to do these crooked and make everybody seasick. Even though it's the summer and you should be seasick and on a boat. But so I think she's trying to drum up more work, more concepts, more ideas, but she needs some help because she is not really a starter. She doesn't have a lot of creative ideas on her own. So she needs someone to come in and give her some ideas. And now we know she's borrowed some concepts from other people, but this is something she really needs somebody to partner with her. And I can say, I just did the collaboration with Thor Sandalwood and Rick Paul and Rob Akampora. And it's really nice to have a partnership like that because you're not in the trenches by yourself. Something like that. And I'm sure she's got a million people working around her, but something like this, when you do a podcast, like, you want to back and forth with somebody. Is she going to do it with Harry? No, he has no interest in podcasting with her. That, like, no one wants to sit around and listen to their conversations. I'm sure somewhere there's someone who would be interested in listening to mine and Greg's conversations, and I'm sure the staff at the other end of our ALEXAs in the house are riveted sometimes about the things that we talk about. But for the most part, I just don't think that their conversations are going to be engaging or riveting or exciting or anything like that. I just don't see that happening. So I don't think that he is the mark for this. She needs to find a higher profile friend. It's a shame. Jessica Mulroney would have been great. They could have talked about fashion and wine all day long. But she burned that bridge and they are no longer friends, according to legend. So how will this, so her podcast is it's, do you ever see like those bugs that like fall in a baby pool and it's just kind of like swimming along and you got to either help it out or let it go? And like she's kind of swimming along and she needs somebody to scoop her out of the baby pool. Is that going to happen? It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like there's anybody that really wants to get into bed with her because it's not going to reflect well on their personal brand. So last question, how is this going to affect her charity integrity? The business of not being Nigerian, the disclosure of her not being Nigerian, how is it going to affect her charity? Oh, so she's going to have a lot of trouble getting people to let her go to schools, let her do her thing, borrow the children. It's going to be really hard for her to do that. She's going to struggle. So I don't know if we're going to see a lot of opportunities. Now, in other readings, I've seen that and you can see there's not a lot of pentacles showing up here. I don't think that they have a lot of money to pay to play anymore. I just don't think that they have it in their budgeting. So, what is the solution for them? We'll look at that later, how they can, I'll do that in another reading, how they can resolve their financial issues, how they can create some positive cash flow. But for now, it looks like it's just too hot of a subject. Wands are fire. They're hot. They're hot. And these swords are blowing air on it. So what happens when you blow on flames? They get bigger. That is bananas. So, we get into a very difficult situation where people just don't want to get involved with that. So, so there it is.